A terrifying, massive anomaly is silently spreading across the North Atlantic right now. Deep water sensors have just revealed a giant, cold blob rapidly expanding near Greenland. It is a chilling sign that massive freshwater ice melt has officially broken the ocean's natural ability to circulate heat. This freezing oceanic dead zone is growing larger and more aggressive every day. While the rest of the global planet experiences record-shattering heat, this specific patch of the Atlantic is plunging into freezing temperatures, completely disrupting the hemisphere's climate balance. The cause of this massive cold anomaly is actually a hidden disaster. Billions of tons of fresh, freezing meltwater are pouring off Greenland's glacier directly into the sea. This sudden influx is diluting the ocean's salt content, altering its fundamental physics. This fresh meltwater is creating a deadly trap for global currents. Because fresh water is much lighter than salt water, it sits like a stubborn, giant lid on top of the ocean. This process completely stops the warm Gulf Stream from moving north. The grand engine of our planet's climate is actively stalling out. Without the heavy salt water sinking to the deep sea floor, the Atlantic conveyor belt loses its driving power. Scientists warn this stagnation could trigger severe global weather chaos. Look at what this cold anomaly is doing to European winters. As the warm Gulf Stream current recedes, Western Europe is losing its heat shield. Meteorologists predict a sudden collapse could plunge major countries into extreme, historic ice age conditions. The agricultural backbone of the United Kingdom is facing total ruin. Blistering frost and endless, bitter blizzards are locked in place by the cold blob. Local crop seasons are shortening rapidly, threatening the region's long-term food security infrastructure. This ocean crisis is creating severe, multi-billion-dollar damage in America. As the Atlantic current slows down, water is backing up heavily along the US East Coast. This is causing sudden, extreme sea level rise completely independent of global warming. Major coastal cities are completely defenseless against these rising tides. From Boston down to Miami, high-interest real estate zones are suffering from chronic sunny-day flooding. The stalled ocean current pushes water inland, overwhelming aging storm drainage grids. The physical geography of our coastlines is being aggressively destroyed. Relentless, heavy tidal surges are violently chewing away at beach foundations. Multi-million-dollar luxury homes are collapsing directly into the sea as the earth beneath them washes away. Deep-sea ecosystems are completely suffocating in this stagnant water. The cold blob stops the natural downwelling of oxygen-rich surface water into the deep trenches. It is creating massive, invisible underwater dead zones where nothing can survive. The fundamental base of the marine food chain is disappearing. Microscopic plankton rely on active ocean mixing to get vital nutrients. As the circulation stalls, these tiny organisms die off, starving thousands of fish species instantly. Grand, historic fishing industries are facing an absolute catastrophe. Commercial fishing boats are returning to North Atlantic docks with completely empty nets. Local governments are enforcing emergency bans to protect the remaining cod and salmon populations. Look at how this cold ocean mass alters atmospheric winds. The extreme temperature contrast between the cold blob and nearby warm water is supercharging the jet stream. It is locking severe, hyper-intense storm systems directly over the continent. Get ready for an era of completely unpredictable seasonal weather chaos. The warp jet stream creates extreme weather whiplash. Cities will experience freezing blizzards and intense, record heat waves within the exact same monthly calendar window. Severe economic shockwaves are hitting the global shipping industry. Massive cargo containers are encountering unpredictable, violent cross-currents driven by the Atlantic's failing circulation. Routes are taking longer, driving up the cost of everyday consumer goods. Earth's ancient past holds a terrifying warning about this event. Core samples prove that a similar freshwater flood 12,000 years ago shut down the Atlantic current completely, plunging the world into a sudden, 1,000-year ice age. The scary truth is that modern warming is moving much faster. Ancient climate shifts took hundreds of years to unfold naturally. Today, human industrial emissions are forcing the ocean toward this dangerous tipping point in just a matter of decades. Advanced supercomputers are failing to model the upcoming chaos. Because the ocean circulation system is highly complex, the sudden emergence of the cold blob has made climate predictions wildly erratic and unpredictable for scientists. Migratory marine animals are becoming completely lost at sea. Majestic sea turtles and whales rely on steady ocean current temperatures to navigate the globe. The cold anomaly has completely erased their historic underwater pathways. Financial markets are officially preparing for a massive climate crash. A total shutdown of the Atlantic current would destroy trillions of dollars in real estate and agricultural assets by mid-century, sparking global economic panic. Specialized engineers are designing radical ways to save our coasts. Coastal planners are gathering to design massive sea protection grids. They realize traditional concrete seawalls are totally useless against the intense tide surges ahead. The true power of the ocean is becoming terrifyingly obvious. This is no longer just a slow environmental issue. The cold blob represents a violent shift in the core physics that keep human civilization stable and safe. An international fleet of satellites is tracking this cold anomaly live. Space agencies are using advanced thermal sensors to monitor the North Atlantic every second, map the cold freshwater spread, and predict the next big storm. Robotic ocean explorers are diving straight into the freezing void. Scientists are launching fleets of autonomous submarines directly into the cold blob to gather real-time data on changing salinity and current speeds deep below. Some desperate scientists are proposing absolutely wild interventions. Radical geoengineering projects suggest dropping millions of tons of salt into the subarctic waters to manually force the freshwater to sink and restart the current. The window to prevent a total systemic collapse is slamming shut. Despite our advanced technology, geoengineering cannot fix a system this massive. We are running out of time to stop the Atlantic current from stalling permanently. Look at how this cold mass supercharges local hurricane tracks. The backed-up heat in the southern Atlantic acts like a massive battery, fueling historic, Category 5 storms that smash directly into the American coast with extreme energy. This isn't a future problem, this is happening right now in 2026. The cold blob is a loud, undeniable siren from the planet that the ocean's vital climate control engine is reaching a dangerous point of no return. Can our modern global civilization survive this upcoming ocean shift? We must completely change our understanding of climate resilience before the Atlantic current permanently stops, altering life on Earth for thousands of generations. High-tech research ships are operating in dangerous, unpredictable waters. Severe, localized storms fueled by the temperature contrast are battering science vessels as they fight to deploy deep-sea monitoring equipment near Greenland. Massive, ancient glaciers are shattering under immense water pressure. As warmer currents strike the underwater foundations of ice sheets, gigantic blocks of ice are exploding into the sea, feeding the cold blob daily. The ocean's internal momentum is incredibly terrifying to witness. Even if all global pollution stopped today, the melting freshwater will continue to dilute the North Atlantic for decades due to past heat trapping. This environmental crisis is directly driving severe atmospheric river storms. The extreme temperature imbalances push vast corridors of ocean moisture inland, causing historic, catastrophic flooding across populated coastal cities. The entire discipline of oceanography is currently being turned upside down. Old climate assumptions about ocean stability are dissolving completely as the cold blob expands faster than anyone ever predicted in our lifetime. This represents a massive national security threat for world superpowers. Sudden shifts in food supplies, flooded naval ports, and extreme weather chaos will strain military and economic resources across the entire northern hemisphere. Look at how this anomaly is trapping intense heat downstream. Because the cold mass blocks warm water from escaping north, tropical reef zones are experiencing prolonged, suffocating heatwaves that kill marine biology. This is an active biological war zone beneath the surface waves. Coral reefs are turning into ghostly white graveyards as the backed-up tropical heat triggers the worst bleaching event in recorded human history. Uncovering the secrets of the cold blob is our ultimate mission. Tracking this deep-sea anomaly is the only way to prepare for the massive weather re-engineering that will define the survival of our modern civilization. The fragile map of our world is being redrawn by the ocean. Subscribe to Oceanic Frontier right now to stay ahead of the extreme climate discoveries that are reshaping our generation's future.